glad that you're up with us here on 13 Sunrise. I'm Jalea, along with Anne Marie, who is in for Julia this week, and Lindsay, who, as promised, we've got a Wednesday cool down for us. So fall weather is kind of snuck in for us just for a little bit.
That's right. Happy Wednesday. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Hump day. We're halfway through the week. Right. Do grab an extra layer as you head out this morning. You can set it aside later, but it's pretty cold right now.
It is, and just such a drastic change from yesterday to today. Really, so far this week, it's been pretty mild in the mornings, especially the kids out at the bus stops this morning. Could be chilly. Yeah. Outlying locations as well. Wanted to start with this beautiful shot in the Carmel area this morning, where our sky is now clear, and we are looking at dropping temperatures. Carmel right now has fallen all the way to 47. Well, that number is about 12 degrees cooler than where you were this time yesterday, Carmel. Here in the Indy Metro, we have dropped to 49. It is 48 in Muncie right now, and down to 45 degrees in Lafayette. Comparing these temperatures to 24 hours ago, Terre Haute's down by 21 degrees, Muncie down by 16. We are 14 degrees cooler here in the city. Just kind of goes to show you that big time change that cold front brought in when it moved through yesterday evening. Now we're still dealing with some remnant cloud cover. Some high thin clouds will be possible as the sun comes up at 7:43 today. We will hold steady in the 40s out at the bus stops by 10 a.m. back to 55, and we are headed to 70 under a sunny sky for your afternoon weather. Later today, we're talking about some warmer temperatures. We're back near 80 as soon as tomorrow. More on that warming trend coming up. But let's get you out to the traffic center this morning, because we've got a new traffic flow pattern to let you know about. We continue this big 70 expansion project over in Hancock County. This is a look at our live NDOT camera at I-70 and State Road 9. Now scheduled to start today, and this is new information coming from NDOT. They are going to rework this traffic flow pattern as the eastbound lanes of I-70 will now be on this new pavement. That does mean they're going to have to briefly block the ramp system that will go off of I-70 westbound from State Road 9. So this is going to be a temporary closure as they basically move the westbound lanes over to that new pattern that they developed here as they're expanding the interstate. So something to keep in mind today, something that will last briefly, not causing any issues out there right now, but that is a new traffic flow pattern at I-70 and State Road 9.
Thank you, Lindsay. Right now, we want to make sure you're up to date on the latest on breaking news developing on the east side of Indianapolis this morning. That's where 6 people right now are without a home after an apartment fire.
This is on Penrith Drive near 25th and Midhofer, if you're familiar with that area. So here's what we know right now. That fire started just after 4:30, and we know that 4 units were impacted. So those 6 people we mentioned that are without a home, we are still gathering details on some of the resources they're being offered, and we'll pass along any new information as it becomes available. Our top story this morning, we are now hearing from the newly appointed City County Council's investigative committee for the first time.
This is a group of 7 counselors that are formed to look into recent harassment complaints against members of Mayor Joe Hogsett's administration. Matthew Foltz joins us live downtown with more about what's next in this ongoing process. Matthew.
Yeah, good morning. So what's next is that this committee will now spend the next 7 days trying to figure out and choose an outside law firm that will come in and investigate those recent sexual harassment claims inside of City Hall. Now, you may remember this committee was chosen and approved last month after multiple people came forward with sexual harassment claims inside of City Hall. Now, some of those accusations that you mentioned were against Mayor Joe Hogsett's former Deputy Mayor Thomas Cook. At Tuesday night's meeting, the city's HR department announced that they are looking into 4 complaints of harassment after receiving 7 over the summer, one of those resulting in the firing of a staff administrator. The committee says now they're hoping to get an outside law firm chosen as quick as possible.
We want to make sure that we take our time, that we're doing our due diligence, and that we aren't rushing to conclusions, and that, due process occurs in any way that it can, and that we get the most information and the facts and have the time to review.
Now, this committee is scheduled to meet back here next Wednesday, and that's when they will decide and approve that outside law firm to come in. Meanwhile, there's still some concerns over how city employees can anonymously report sexual harassment claims. We'll break down some of those concerns coming up at 6:30. Ladies.
Thank you, Matthew. This morning, the new Vision Zero task force has its first meeting on the books. Their goal is to come up with a plan to improve pedestrian and bicyclist safety across Indianapolis. The hope is to eliminate all pedestrian traffic deaths by the year 2035. The task force is made up of 15 appointees. That includes city county councilors and community stakeholders. The group's first meeting is set for October 23rd, and that's when they'll lay out some action steps to actually implement this proposal.
This morning, police are closely looking at a home on Indy's north side where they're investigating two separate homicides that went down in the same month.
The latest case happened on Monday after someone found a man's body in the backyard of this house on Leland Avenue. That's near 34th and Emerson's. Investigators say that he'd been shot. Now, a month earlier, a similar scene, same address. Police tell 13 News they found a man shot to death in his truck there. Now, neighbors say that no one has lived in that house for years. 13 News double-checked property records and found that the home is owned by an LLC with a location based out of New York.
I'm sure our community does see that type of instance where there's landholders that may not reside in the state, but that's not illegal, and that's where, again, we ask that if you see individuals on site that shouldn't be there, that you contact the IMPD so we can make sure those individuals are removed and that any action that is necessary is taken.
No word yet if police have made an arrest in the case, but if you have any information about what's happened there, you're urged to call police or Crime Stoppers. This morning, we do have new information about that massive warehouse fire in Richmond dating back to 2023. And it comes from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. Says it is officially ruling the cause of that fire as, quote, undetermined. Investigators believe that fire started in an area outside the building near the center of the property, but they could not find an exact source of what sparked the blaze. It did burn for a week. Investigators say it didn't leave any evidence that could be traced to a potential cause. Now, 13 News did reach out to the city for comment, and when we hear back, we'll pass along what we learn.
Well, a new ad for Republican Mike Braun's gubernatorial campaign is catching some attention this morning.
It's a TV ad, and in it, the Democratic gubernatorial candidate Jennifer McCormick's campaign team says a photo of her at a campaign rally was digitally altered.
Now, the Braun ad shows a photo of McCormick standing at a rally with people behind her holding signs that say no gas stoves. But at the actual rally, they were holding campaign signs with her name on them. The actual picture is from the South Bend Tribune. The other is the photo from Braun's campaign advertisement, which shows the changes to the signs that say no gas stoves. Our new news gathering partners at the Capitol Chronicle report the ad was sent to TV stations without a legally required disclaimer on that picture. There's a new state law that requires all campaign ads with altered media has to include that disclaimer.
This is exactly why we wrote the bill. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better example of why we need this. It was a picture that was clearly altered. And so, again, if images are going to be altered like that, then voters deserve to know the truth.
The law says if a candidate does not disclose that an ad is altered, their opponent can sue them.